That should be good. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, that will be Discord firing. Hi Tabby, how you doing? And Snandor and Nemo. Okay, people showing up. That's good. How are we doing here? Okay, it's not showing who's it's not showing people on the thing yet. Let me look at the am I live on Twitch? Yeah. Okay. We're good. Hello, Alice. Are you Alice? You're drawing. Okay. Close that. Drawing some mountain ranges. That's cool. Well, that's great. LDL. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad that people are seeing it through YouTube. The goal is to be watched. Okay, let me see. Now, I'm just and I need to fix my keyboard. And then I need to go and hey, what? Okay. Then we need to get that's annoying. That was annoying to deal with. And then some of the notes. Okay, so we want to talk about today we're going to deal with pronouns. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to jump into here and I'm on the Sylvan notes. Now let's take a look. Did I make any chart for pronouns? Okay, this is a bunch of nouns. Okay, I did make a chart with the pronouns. However, as usual, I'm not entirely sure how accurate this is anymore because, sound changes have changed, right? Um, yeah, making coffee. Yeah, Juno, I realized just as I was about to go that I forgot to make my morning tea. So hopefully I will be able to stay awake. Let's see. Okay, let's go back to the Middle Fae pronouns, and we're going to take it all the way from the beginning. In order to, let's see, what do we do here? So we need, I guess I can copy this whole thing into like Notepad. Hold on. I need to just one moment while I make sure save some work that you guys cannot be seeing yet. Okay. Sylvan monitor. Okay, now we go. This is a pain to deal with. I'm actually not going to do that way. What I'm going to do is be annoying about it. Oka o tui teep teep and this is interesting. So I guess this was D tui and D teep. Let's see if that gives me the what I'm looking for. And then we have Ipu Uti and TPA. Diao. Ekuka. Ekuka. Eku. Kai. Ya. And then Dikai. D. Okay, this is not. This is So all of these. D. Kai. Right? and would be dia, iguti, apati, iggy, kipati. I need to take this call. I will be right back. Hello? Yeah. Yes. So since yesterday, we've been having an issue. I believe it was so. Uh, it's showing uh, the 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 lockout, the volatile gas sensor lockout, and I've been trying to clear it since last night, and it just will not clear. So I wanted to call someone in to take a look at it. Let me go take a look at it. It is. Yes. Um, so it has a label that says Richmond on it. Okay, yeah. Oh no, there's a black plastic housing. Um, it goes into the. I think the home is. I think it's like over 20 years old. Yeah. Um, Not really. Just we haven't had hot water since last night, and that's the thing with it. I will say, like, we did get our furnace replaced recently by you. Um, so since the furnace itself was really old, there's a good chance that this. Uh, uh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when can I expect somebody? Yeah, today should work. sounds good. That if someone could come, oh, I don't know. What slots do you have? Okay, okay. Well, thank you. That would be great to get that done today. Okay. Um, no, I think that's good. Thank you. Okay. See ya. Bye. Hi. Okay. All right. So, thank you guys for waiting. It's like there's a. Oh, okay. Fix the audio. I absolutely need a better interface. Okay, so that call, just so you guys know, was about my water heater. It stopped working yesterday, and I tried to fix it myself and could not. So, yeah, I fixed the delay. It should be fixed. Uh, yeah. So that was the company calling me to say, okay, let's schedule you for something. But water heater just went out yesterday, and I tried to fix the problem and did not end up fixing the problem. Yeah. Luckily, we have some very competent people around that, I mean, they replaced the furnace, and so and did a good job with that. So I kind of trust them on doing this kind of thing. But that's I probably should have prepared this file beforehand, but you guys now get to see the boring part of I am copying and pasting forms into a thing. I need to. I didn't. yeah. We will actually get to like making some decisions later, possibly, because I'm I guarantee there will be like questions for for like what exactly are we doing with these forms, and uh like we have a ton of distinctions in here that I may not want to keep in Kepi Kepweb. And actually, it may be actually an interesting question once I get there of how am I actually going to like put all of these into a dictionary, because like it's complicated. This situation is kind of complicated. Um but for now, what I need to do is the line operations, or no, I blank operations. I'll do both sides just in case there was. But now, oh, that's not the screen that I want. I want Conlibrary screen. Oh, you guys weren't even seeing my screen as I was doing that. So let me switch to the monitor so you can see what's going on, huh? And okay, that's not right. That is incorrect. Yes, this one should be just oh. And then we're going to go with, I'm going to make a new thing. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reconstruct this chart in, yeah. Um, I want to reconstruct this chart. So this is, and so we're going to say this should equal, hey, what? Hey. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to yeah, so should go oka o tui teep teep di teep. Okay, and then we need to have this. Let's equal this. And then we have equals this. Okay. And from there, so diao equa eku kai ya di kai dia. And then apachi eki kepuchi kepui ipuchi ipui. Okay. And from here, it should be going straight down the classes. So, yeah. The syllabic fricative. Yeah. The syllabic fricative. But it, so the most interesting thing about that is that it can go different places, actually, because I'm not keeping it, actually. I don't think in any of the surface forms. Okay, we're almost done here. And then I have to pay attention here. It's aigu, then apa, and then that is shared across two, and then we get kepu, which is shared across two, and then we get ipi, shared across two. So this chart should be the same as this chart now. So it looks like that is the case. Okay. So once we have that sorted out, then let's busy with prep for the relay. By the way, the relay, the YouTube Conlang relay, will be going underway on Monday. You guys will not, obviously, if you're not one of the people who is in the relay, I think we got 25 people, you will not be hearing about that until August. Like you won't be seeing any videos until August. However, that is happening. Tinglish. Well, so there will be a script relay involved. I'm not going to spoil too much about it, but we have separate rings now because there's so many participants. So, if I can duplicate this sheet, I want to. Okay, and then I want to take this. I want to go back here and I want to get the output of this and paste it in here and see what do we look like here. Okay. Now, oh, no. Need to paste it this way. There we go. And now we're going to compare again and make sure that we understand, like, are there places where we made... So here, we actually started to make adjustments, manual adjustments to it. This, I'm not 100% sure that this is necessary. So going down this line, it looks like in these two columns, I manually removed right. Oh, and this one. Yeah, so I had manually removed these. This was the same still. And then here we have icky, okay, so we start with Egupug. And then Agupao. And then down to Agub. Uh-huh. Okay, now what adjustments did we do here? Kapud. Okay. So I'm not sure. I don't think I need to do that. Kapik. Kapui. I think that adjustment let's leave alone. Do these have adjustments? Kapupig. So kapupig, kapupao, kapupig and kapupao. I think that's reasonable. So it became kapao and kapug. Because it is a little bit odd. Yeah, we can keep kapug. It's a little bit odd to have too many 3-syllable pronouns, right? And then ipu, ipusi, ipud. So ipud, I actually reduced down to ipud. Right. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Ipu, ik. Okay, this is, I can do that. Need to ipik. So ipik becomes ipik. Yeah. Yeah, and we do have a large inventory. So it's not that bad, but maybe it's not that bad, but I just kind of aesthetically don't like having 3-syllable pronouns. So there's a few still, though I think they are going to, and I don't think there were any adjustments here. EPAB. EPAB. Okay. So those are going to be the real Middle Fae forms that we go with. Yeah, so Tokbisin, my understanding with Tokbisin is that like maybe some of the longer forms don't get used. Like Yumi Tupela, people will more likely just say Yumi, right? Um, like that reduction is a thing that's happening. Um, but anyway, let's take the forms that we've figured out now and figure out what they look like in Dawn and Dusk. Um, I am fully expecting to do more ad hoc adjustments because, like, I can see places where things are going to merge where I don't want them to. But let's actually get the full situation before we jump to that. Okay, so we'll start with Dawn, as we are wont to do. And I'm going to once again duplicate the sheet. And what? Export. And I think we'll do this independently. Okay, so a, ich, a, ich, tu. We got a lot of tu. A lot of things that are tu. Cha, 继续，继续，机械，机械。Okay, okay. Jo. Okay. 衣服，衣服，语系。啊，Jo. 回去，回去。啊，一，一去，一去，切，一。Okay. E. Interesting. 机械，解，补习，爬西，补习，爬西，一，咖啡西，咖啡，啊，啡西，啡，OK，不，不，不，不服，咖啡，啡。Okay, that probably needs a manual adjustment. Fui and fui, and then there we go. Ja, buffo, kafu, kafo, fufo, bu, ga, kafwa, fua, and then we get ihu. So we got ihu and iyi. That's not that close. Afa, chifu, fui. Okay, so here's the thing. We got the ja. That is from gzik and bzik. And what I want to think about here is let me see. Obsidian. I want you guys to take a look at this and say, my issue here is, let's search in Dawn. And if we search for Ja, okay, do we have anything else that is Ja? Okay, we have Ja, meaning dry. And in this case, it's coming from the same place. So the thing about these two reducing to Ja, this is a consequence of some rules I have in place, where basically anytime you have uh-oh. Yeah. What happens is anytime you have anything that is a consonant with this j and another consonant, right? So this, actually do it in Notepad so you guys can see better. So anytime that I have a case of C and that syllabic J and then a C, that always is going to go to ja. Well, it'll have a low tone in Dawn, and in Dusk it will have no tone, right? Or mid tone. So you see the issue here is we just have this massive collapse happening. Now, the thing is, what do I do when that collapse happens? Well, I have allowed one content word to show this collapse. However, in other cases, I have had I've let things sort of get replaced in order to avoid this. I have also had influence from the other dialects that don't have this neutralization happen get factored in. So the question is, do I allow this to just happen in the pronouns? And we just get ja. I think we're going to have to decide. It's not necessarily fatal, because I'm not 100% sure that we're going to keep these forms. Another merger that I'm seeing is in class in these two. Oh, what is this? This is, what even is this class? Okay, yeah. And in class 2, no, in class 3 and class 4 we have something. And I am realizing right now that I don't have any class 6 pronouns defined. We can get to that at the end, I think. Yes. Yeah. My feeling when I leave my kzka and it comes back as ja, except it's there is no, this ah is not there. But yes, that's the thing. It's like, and if we run the dusk ones, so let's I really should be naming all of these. If we run the dusk ones, we have exactly the same thing happening. Now it's toneless in dusk, right? So ja ja. Are we seeing other things due to the vowel deletion? I think a ich e chu cha ji shu ji shu jis jisja jis jisja. Okay, jisja. Okay. So this, but we get a theta in there for some reason. Cha kuch ith ich cha yi chicha ji guish guish pash egg kafwish kafwi fwish fwi gu gu pu gufu kafu kafu fui 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 fu ja ja gufa kafui kafa shui fu fa jui pui ga kafui kafa fui fua egg af chef fui. Yeah. So we got a theta happening in just one pronoun, which is weird. So let's rename this sheet. Dusk pronouns. Dawn pronouns. Middle Fae pronouns. Pronoun source. So I think the first thing I want to do is we go night, pronouns, day pronouns. I want to run for day and night and see. Okay. I want to run for day and night to see like what those forms look like in day and night, because that could be a way. So import. Let's go day, open. Oh, and night, open. So let's run. So yeah, so we get ja, ja, and ja in day. In night, what do we get? Ja and ja. Did I? So yeah, this is day. It has tones. And then when this has no tones, this is night. Exciting. Okay. So we could like draw influence from day and night to preserve. The other thing we could think about is maybe both of the Twilight dialects just lose the dual. If they lose the dual, then this doesn't really matter that much. Yes, it will collide with other words in the language. However, free pronouns are going to, like, let's see, how often are free pronouns going to be used? Probably more than in Dakiga, because we don't have, however, like this default case. The other thing that we're going to think about is this. Actually, in modern dialects, this is going to be nominative, and this will probably be accusative, right? And then the question is, do we want to keep the locative pronoun? Now, I have, yeah, um, because we do expect the nominative to be a bit less frequent. So that's something we can think about. So what did I say before when I was talking about how this changes. It's down in here somewhere. So I just made a big chart here. Did I make any notes about pronouns? So here's the thing. I do want to preserve inclusivity. This actually does if and ish. Yeah, this is very distinct here too. I want to preserve inclusivity. And a big thing about that is okay. If we want to keep inclusivity, we have two options here. We have several options here. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about pronouns. Why is it freezing? Hey. Word. What is going on with Word? Inclusivity is a useful feature. And it makes me a little annoyed that English doesn't have it sometimes. Although, like, the weirdest thing is that, so my experience with a language with inclusivity, my biggest experience is with Mandarin, where you have, what is it? We have Zanman versus woman. Zanman is inclusive, woman is exclusive, except there are not Chinese dialects, not other Chinese languages, but dialects of Mandarin that do not have Zanman. How do we strike through? So in practice, you have Zanman is clearly inclusive, and then woman is ambiguous in Chinese. So that gets wild. Should I do that? I think I kind of just want inclusivity in both of them. Wow. Yeah. Unless I have that backwards, but yeah. Today I learned, yeah. Well, the thing is, it's different here. You're not going to have that necessarily be confusing because these are much more like separate languages. If you look at the difference between words between these two, yeah, there's a lot of similarities, but they're they're pretty distinct. Like look at the plural first person um uh exclusive, right? That versus right? So I don't think it has that much impact, but we could do it. But anyway, back to our issue here. So the the options that we have here. So options for dual and inclusivity. We have several options we can do. Hey, what is going on? Hey, it it is insisting that that button means a certain thing that it doesn't. Okay. What is going on with my keyboard? Finally. Did I accidentally make macros or something? I don't know. Okay, so right. The other thing is oh, I need to give up on Word. This is getting ridiculous. I'm constantly Word is just constantly being laggy. I think so. Let's talk about what these options look like. So, we have this idea. We have this. Oh. We could lose the dual entirely, right? Right? Can you guys see that? I can lose dual. We can keep the dual, or we can now. which would mean we'd take this oh, this is for dusk, right? Okay. Now, the viability of that depends on other changes to the system. Because, okay, the locative never had any inclusivity distinction, right? The other thing that we're running into is we have this three-way merger, basically a four-way merger in the locative. Okay. So these are our two big issues that we want to resolve. And I'm actually leaning toward doing different things in different dialects. So here's my thing. Language continuum. There could be a... What if I actually want to keep the locative in some capacity? But what if they... So I was thinking actually one lets them merge and one doesn't, but actually, what if they come up with different strategies for resolving this issue? So here's a proposal. Here's a proposal. Okay. Yes. So free versus free. Okay, so what if we have these plural forms start to take over the functions of these ones in one dialect? Actually, I think I had a brainwave. What if this goes kind of both ways? What if we do this? And then this. Fra, sha, fra. And then we are losing the number distinction in order to maintain the class distinctions. And then meanwhile in Dawn has some more distinctiveness, but what we can do in Dawn instead is we employ this intermediate, and then that gets generalized to let's see, what is, this is class, so we go with fully, fully, fully. Ah, fully. And this should be, this becomes an oo. What do we think of that? So what happens is, see, these four were merging. In Dawn, they're like, okay, let's like Joe regularize these. We add the L separator and we regularize them to fullu, fully, fully, full, fullu, fully, fully, right? Dusk did a different strategy. Um, said, okay, we were having this one merge with these three. Let's push this singular form over to the plural and then push these plural forms over to maintain this distinction. So we get basically a loss of, we just get a loss of the number distinction in the third person, but we end up with distinct forms: fish, fui fu, fui fu, fui fa, fra, fra, fui. Hi, Phoenix. What do we think of that? What do we think of that as a strategy? And then as we do that, as we're thinking about that, what do we think of, I think actually we do the minimal augmented in both. If we do this minimal augmented in both of these, then we basically are not worrying too much. However, we have this form to fill in, right? Do we need to put in that form? I don't know that we do. Oh, this is, yeah. So this would be the minimal. So we just wouldn't have a dual. We didn't have a dual in the accusative, so we don't have the minimal augmented. It'd be nice if I spelled augmented correctly. Is that something we can be happy with? Another thing that can happen, actually, see, these are super distinct. These are like four These four forms are super distinct. In Dawn, you see the relationship between these two. Because I think Middle Fae, this is oh, it's actually a false relationship. They're not related at all, are they? Are they? Yeah, they're not related at all. So there's a false. Oh, okay. I have a fun idea. So they both have the minimal augmented form. However, this ifu somehow gets lost, and then we get a generalization from ushi. So we get ashi. Is that a cool thing? Is that a cool? And then actually, we'll keep this one for flavor. This like stayed for some reason. And then this one, they reduce down for jishi, and it should we should get a low tone here. Jishi. What about that? So this false relationship causes a generalization that like goes across the language, whereas Dusk does actually have less distinction because they didn't have this false relationship pop up, and so they ended up with like fewer of those forms, and the minimal form is if instead of ashi, because it would have been like ash or ashi if they had done the same thing as okay. Is that, or do we want to do, okay, this is going to be my poll. Okay. No. I think no. This is not going to be my poll because so what I'm saying is Dusk like shifted around to get the minimal augmented, and they pushed the they pushed this form over to here while losing the rest of the dual forms. Dawn just like wholesale lost the dual forms and then innovated this form ashi, and then we get this. Yes, okay, this is what I'm going with. um and then this survived because it was a plural form. It was never lost, so we still had shifi in the plural, in the accusative plural, um inclusive. So what we end up with is Dawn gets a full paradigm of of the of of these, right? But dusk, because it didn't have that generalization to go on, ends up with only the minimal augmented in the nominative, and then accusative and and locative has no clusivity distinction at all. So this is really, for me, cementing an idea of these being different languages. So this is what I'm going with. So if we go to um, how was this originally, by the way? This, I want to go to my Sylvan notes. Yeah, this is exclusive and then inclusive. So, okay. And it's important that I do the merge cells with these. It's important that I actually have the cells merge correctly, because this actually, this is a nothing. Oh, come on. Whereas these should be merged to show that there's no distinction. Okay. So we end up, let's look at these side by side. Look at these these pronoun charts side by side, because I think it's actually interesting what I did here. So they're clearly related. However, we have a very different paradigm for the inclusive. We have it neutralized in the locative. Um, let's keep the locative, right? Here, and then we have just like generalized by analogy because of things that happen in these languages, right? It's this all happened because this and this looked like they were related in the modern language, even though they're not actually, right? Um, this ends up not being an issue because also, why is it jo instead of ja? Oh, this one. Yeah, this ends up not being an issue, the ja, because it's not contrasting with another pronoun. It will collide with um the word for dry, but that's going to be like inflected and everything. It's not going to be that big a deal, right? um and then this, they have found two completely different strategies for dealing with this big merger, right? Um, I could have just let this merge, but I kind of like, okay, we have Dawn has like invented new forms, whereas Dusk has decided to lose a distinction in order to keep this. In fact, what I should do is to reflect that we've lost this distinction. I should just make these merge cells, right? And so, yeah. What questions do I still have on pronouns? I guess the fact that there is still a locative is interesting. Do we want the locative to take on another meaning? Because remember, our oblique has just become an accusative case. And that either it could maintain the oblique function and then locative remains a locative, or the locative could start taking on, like the locative could take over some oblique functions, since we have the prepositions, we have inflecting prepositions is the thing. So we have these inflecting prepositions. This, okay. Okay, so here's the thing, like these are related to this. Could become genitive. Do I have a So the thing about is the inflected prepositions are going to take over a lot. We have a from or of, which is kind of a genitive. What do we want to do with the locative? It could stop being a personal pronoun. So this idea, as much as I like it, we need to think about I need to think about like what does would this still continue? Cuz here's the thing. These different strategies for preserving the locative the distinctions here are cool. However, if like this and then what is the equivalent for um yeah this if inflected prepositions can take over that locative function, then they wouldn't have to do all of this. So, and we got a lot of inflecting pronouns. Yeah. So Soten brings up a point. They could stop being a personal pronoun. One thing I was thinking about was another option could be instead of this, what we do is we grab some select ones. And what if we do fui j'y suis, right? Um and dije, and this becomes here, there, and yonder. Do we have words for those yet? Let's go. Let's go look in the whole fairy family. Where we have word for where, and crucially, so that comes from the locative of what. So we have precedent for that to happen. But we don't have here, there, yonder. Now keep in mind, um, with wishi, right? This the demonstrative does not distinguish here, there, yonder, right? But I think we could actually. So if we did that, jisui and jika, and actually, what if we do it with the plural forms? Actually, Now, that's the inanimate. Hello, XR. I'm going to say XR carp razor because XH carp. Um, yeah, I like this. I like this development. I think I need to decide two things to decide. Two things to decide on this. Yes, yes, Juno. That's exactly what I was thinking. No, so let me just tell you. Let me just tell you. Uh, uh, heart, heart razor. When I was reading Game of Thrones, there was a dude, and I don't know if this guy comes up in the show. When I was reading A Song of Ice and Fire, I came up against that across that name. And I know that George R. R. Martin doesn't think too much about how things are pronounced. He just makes fun names that look fun, and he decides he lets the audience decide how to pronounce things. So I, in my head, consistently pronounce this guy's name Jalabar Ko, because that's the only thing I can think of for its XH. Like, why? What else does that mean? It's the aspirated lateral click in cosa, cosa, which I cannot actually. I'm not doing it correctly, but I'm doing it as well as I can. um, there's also a guy named, I think it's Daro Poan da. Now, by itself, this could be like Dashos or something like that, right? Right? Juno says it could be Ja. No, I'm not. XH for Ja? Yeah. Yeah. K sharp. What's K sharp? Oh, sharp. Sharp, yes. But yeah, that was how I rationalized this spelling being in that book, because like I would never use XH for anything in a conlang, right? For any kind of romanization. Um because like I don't like the letter X. It has too many, it's too polysemous, it has too many different meanings, right? um so I used it once in a very early conlang, and then I realized how like inaccessible it is, and how easy it is for people to like come with to different conclusions about how it's pronounced. And I'm like, nope. If we have a velar fricative, we're gonna have KH. Maybe just H. Depends on the language, right? Kind of put it in a conlang just to mess with it. I want people. I want. I want people to look at my stuff and get it. as accurate as possible. I know that lots of like naive English speakers are not going to get it, but yeah. So the thing I want to figure out now is exactly which forms, and we'll go back to this actually. Which forms are we going to pull to get the here, there, and yonder? Okay. uh Aspirated. I don't know how you aspirate further. It's already gonna be, because it's a fricative. It's already gonna be like spread glottis. But anyway, I think I need to leave it there for now. My thing I still need to resolve, and maybe I'll turn this into a poll, is like exactly which of these forms are we going to choose for here, there, and yonder. Because I'm actually so let me strike through this to let me know that I'm actually losing this. Which still leaves us with this weird disconnect where um we don't have we have this full paradigm in Dawn, but Dusk has this like partial paradigm going on because Dawn did an analogy and Dusk did not. But anyway, yeah, that could be Juno is finding ways to use X. But anyway, thank you all for watching. This was actually kind of more interesting than I thought it would be because, you know, translating the pronouns from Middle Fae into Dawn and Dusk ended up being a lot more needing a lot more decisions made than I thought. And the fact that we were able to differentiate the pronouns is pretty interesting, pretty significant. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Have a great day and happy conlanging.